I ran into Barbara Waters last week and I learned more about her, that she had been the fashion director at I. Magnin. She worked with every designer of the time and even flew in Givenchy to appear on the Phil Donahue show. Barbara asked me almost immediately how Bill Fisher was. I'm always happy to report that Bill is doing great. His nieces set him up in the suburbs with the care he needs, along with three good meals every day. Early in Bill's health issue, I told him we need to pray for healing. And there was healing. Bill received acceptance of his condition, and with it came contentment and gratitude. That's why I was surprised when Bill's niece Jane called on Sunday to tell me Bill had died earlier that morning. Jane told me that Bill had not been doing so well, and he told Jane he was ready to go. She told Bill, well, you'll have to pray to God to take you. It just shows you never know who you're talking to or who's listening. Death, it's the ultimate form of healing. Welcome. Welcome to Sunday Coffee Hour. I'm Stanley Smith. At Sunday Coffee Hour, we talk about everything and nothing. This Sunday, we talked about having an election hangover, going into probate, General Electric, and how Kamala wasn't a very good candidate. The readings at Washington National Cathedral were from Kings. Isaiah, all he was looking for was a little hospitality from those who had nothing to give, but gave anyway. And from Hebrews, Christ entered into heaven once on our behalf, but we have to attend church every Sunday. The gospel was from Mark. Special interest money was undone by the people who voted out of their poverty. The sermon at Washington National Cathedral was by Randy Hollerath. Randy said it's been a long, stressful week. The election hangover with 74 million people happy and 70 million who are despondent and heartbroken. As different as we are, the vast majority of people are good, whatever that is. People like you and people like me. The truth is, we have more in common. We're bound together by our shared humanity. In the end, there is no us or them, just us. Randy said he suspects there will be serious consequences from the election. Some may even be dangerous, and some actually might be good. We can't depend on politicians to save us. Many are afraid. All we can do now is trust and give what we can of ourselves in love to our neighbors. And our enemies? Well, Brene Brown said the thing about that is that we need to help most by just having hope in the small things. Hope that small joy will come and bring delight into the world. We've been distracted from doing the small things of joy and delight for a long time by the big things of world affairs. We all want to change the world, but what about changing the minds of others one person at a time? And doing it by simply loving them. We can give food to the hungry and provide justice to the victimized. God frustrates the way of the wicked. We must stand up for the values of the cross, the values of Christ's kingdom, standing up for the weak, the poor, and against the homophobia and racism of social injustice. Anything that distorts the truth. It's not right or left, it's what God commands. We have our marching orders. If we call ourselves Christians, the work is the same regardless of who sits in the Oval Office. Christ didn't come just for the good people, he came for every one of us. It's not our place to figure out who's good or who's bad based on who they voted for. At St. James, Lisa preached about how we had a reprieve last week because it was All Saints Sunday. But now it's back to reality. Whatever the outcome, the mission should be the same. There's no need to prepare two sermons based on either scenario. God is the only scenario. Many are experiencing disorientation at the strong rebuke represented by the election results. Lisa said it would be foolish to ignore that message. At the prayer vigil following the election at St. James, many shared the sentiment that this time it would be different. There will be no more uninvited to Thanksgiving just because of who they voted for. We need to get over it and invite all of our difficult relatives and simply move on and move this narrative forward. Lisa cited Walter Brueggemann, who shared that he was completely undone by the election because he sees that we've been thwarted in our campaign for social justice. Lisa shared instead that instead of being undone, we should instead engage with others, and continue the work of seeing the humanity in everyone, not in just the people we agree with or who voted the same way. I had the pleasure of meeting Walter Brueggemann on more than one occasion. At a lecture series he did on the Psalms, he said the Psalms are either praise or lament. I understand Walter Brueggemann's lament. The notion that social justice of the LGBTQ, trans, anti-racism, economic equality is what it meant to be Christian, but that's now been rejected. Christ didn't come to tell us how to be a good person. He came to show us. None of us want to be told what to do just to be a good person. Bill Fisher was a member at Fourth Pres for over 40 years. He was central figure in the court case Fourth brought against me. During the case, they kept saying, my friend who I asked to harass them, kept writing these letters. I kept trying to figure out who that friend could be, since I never asked anyone to harass anyone. When they called Bill on the carpet about his removal of his pledge, he told them in no certain terms, who the fuck do you think you're talking to? It was a novel question. We never know who we're talking to. In the Bible, it's often cited that the greatest sin is the sin of not offering hospitality. It's one thing to offer it, and it's another thing to have people give it out of their own good nature, even at pledging time. None of us want to be forced to do anything, let alone give money to the church. Christ didn't appear to tell us to be good. He showed us how by being good. Bill worked his entire life in the hospitality industry at the Ambassador East, Hotel Nico, and Westin Hotels. He traveled the world with his friend Muriel on his free TWA travel pass from Hotel Nico. Bill was criticized by his brother for being a spendthrift, even when he was spending his last dollar caring for his dying mother. Prior to knowing Bill, I had crossed paths with many of the same people who populated Bill's professional life, and I never found it necessary to defend anyone he had a low opinion of. Some things don't need to be said or shared when you're a friend. It's just intuitively obvious. Bill did receive the gift of healing, and Fourth Pres did find out who they were talking to. And death, well, now for Bill, it's just the beginning of his story. If you would like to join us at Sunday Coffee Hour is every Sunday at 12 noon Central Time on Zoom. I will include my email in the description of this video. I'd be happy to send you an invitation. And I look forward to seeing you very, very soon.